Good morning. I hope that this morning has been beautiful for you. I am on my morning walk, just being surrounded by nature, the trees, the birds, the infinite blue sky. I'm just grateful for the scent of earth, the sounds of the birds singing, for the trees that provide the shade and dappled sunlight. I'm just grateful. And I've been reading through Proverbs, and one thing that came up in scripture was how wisdom was used to form the earth, how God used wisdom to form the earth. And as I'm walking through the trees today, I'm like, you know what? Like, everything in nature works together. Everything in nature works together for each other's good. Right? Like, I heard the woodpecker in the distance today, and, it's drilling holes and eating grubs from in the trees, which could be harmful to the tree, right? Like the grubs. And so the woodpeckers are eating them for them, right? And looking at these trees just standing here and how underground they're holding hands and sharing resources and communicating. Like everything, the foundation of the world was created with wisdom. And it's wild because I'm reading through Braiding Sweetgrass. I recommend it, Robin Kimmer-Wall. But one thing she was talking about was the salmon on the West Coast and how humans created a dike to stop the salmon from, stop the water from coming into their land. But in that water, there are so many species of animals and plants, medicinal and otherwise. And when the humans created that dike, like the settlers specifically, the colonizers, they ruined the ecosystem. And it's crazy because humans will look at nature and will say that nature is inconvenient, that nature needs to be fixed, right? That it needs to be cut away. When nature manages itself, everything balances out. Good morning.
Good morning.
Everything balances out itself in nature. It doesn't need human hands or logic, because a lot of the time our human logic is not even wisdom. It's pride, it's arrogance, it's you feeling inconvenienced. And we do so many things thinking they're the wise thing to do, when really it's just setting us up for failure. We can look at our ecosystem now and see, hello bird, we can look at our ecosystem now and see all the ways that we thought that we were improving the earth or improving the economy or humanity, and everything suffers because humans think they're the ultimate authority on everything, in nature, in finance. You know what I'm saying? Like, and really, humans do a lot out of lack, out of greed, out of evil, and we are not good managers of this earth. I think about even in Genesis, when God gave Adam instructions, God's instructions to Adam was to take care of the earth, was to manage the earth. And with the introduction of greed and lack, right? Like, because they focus on what they didn't have, access to an apple, right? Or whatever the fruit was. Access to the fruit, they focused on the lack. And now we see lack at the root of everything evil. Lack mindset or greed or wanting to feel empowered by oppressing other people. Humans think that we're so smart. Humans think they're so smart. And we're really not. Nature is smarter than us. God is smarter than us. And us, in all of our wisdom, could never. Like, honestly, could never. Could never. Thinking about the flowers and how, humans, we're so used to forcing everything. We force everything. And the flowers just bloom and be. And they allow the wind to help them. They allow the bees to help them. And so for us as humans, we're like, oh, bees are inconvenient. If there are no bees, so many things go down. The world ends. Like even down to the smallest thing. All these things matter. But all around me, my point is, I see wisdom in nature. I see wisdom on my walks, and quiet and being held by nature, walking through the woods, seeing the animals like flit about. Like these animals aren't worried about nothing. Every day they're provided for. And these lessons in nature is to relax, release, allow, play. God is going to take care of you. That God is going to provide. When I go out in nature every day, I learn something new. Something new is realized. And I feel like there's something to that. When we go back to the garden, when we go back to nature, wisdom is revealed. Because wisdom is in the woods. Wisdom is in the birds. Even, there's like a proverb that says, go to the ant, you lazy sluggard. I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but we can learn so many things from nature. But I feel like it's our arrogance and our pride that wants us to detach from nature. Because we want to be the all-knowing. We want to be God. We want to have all the wisdom. Good morning. And so, how do you do that? You tear down nature. You build monuments to self. Not to serve anybody, but to self. You're selfish. You hoard. You hoard resources and ideas. And so because we live in a world that's so disconnected and uncaring about nature, people, and otherwise, that wisdom we're disconnected from. That ancient wisdom, that ancestral wisdom, that indigenous wisdom, because we choose to be disconnected. But then when you go in the land of men, what's there? Lack, poverty, exploitation, oppression, violence, right? Competition, all these things that were never meant to be a part of our ecosystem in the first place. Like humans create their own ecosystem. And the system is trash. The system is rooted in lack, in fear, in judgment. That's the human ecosystem. And I think for myself, I need to connect to nature. I need to place my hand in some dirt on a tree. I need to walk in the woods. That's how I worship God. That's how I hear God. That's how I connect with myself, connect with there's something in me that I cannot explain that knows that this is the way. That knows that this is more important than anything. That knows that this should be top priority. And the world will tell me, oh, there's so many other things to think about, so many other things to do. But honestly, making space in my mind, in nature, that's how God talks to me. Look all around you. Go to nature. Put your hand on a plant. Sniff a flower. What do people say? Go touch grass, But seriously, and not in an offensive way or a judgmental way, but seriously, go out and feel the world how God intended for you to feel the world. Get the wisdom. Go to the plant. Go to the tree. Go to the deer. Go to the geese. They were here at the foundations of the earth. They literally were here before Adam and Eve got here. They were here before man. You don't think they have some wisdom? You don't think they have some remnant of creation? And it's crazy because even in the book, in Braiding, Sweetgrass, it's about indigenous wisdom from different, tribes and things that were here. But a lot of their stories are so similar to that of those in the Bible. It's crazy. And this is pre-colonization. Like, a lot of their ancestral wisdom is similar, specific tribes anyway, is similar to the stories that we hear of, the wisdom we hear of in the Bible. Even this idea of gifting, right? Gifting, you got to read the book, but in indigenous cultures, and a lot of them, they have a gifting economy. It's not based on, I trade you for this. It's like, no, like, I have this thing you needed. I'm going to give it to you. And I believe that it's going to come back. Oh, Lord, the wind. I believe that it's going to come back to me because we gift. I might have to end this because the wind is not being forgiving or kind. Or maybe it is. Maybe that's the thing. I'm on a tangent now, but even with the wind in March is so bitter and so much, but it has a job. It has its place. Like, I might see it as an inconvenience, but it's not an inconvenience. The wind is blowing the pollen to pollinate the trees, the flowers, right? Like, to change the weather. Anywho, but in my human, mind, I'm like, no, we gotta stop the wind. And if I stop the wind, everything would fall apart. But anyway, this idea of a gifting economy, right? Like, I'm reading through Acts, and I'm at like chapter 4, I think. And in Acts chapter 4, they're basically saying that all the believers, there were like 5,000 of them, or thousands of them. All the believers sold everything they had, put all their money together, and gave money to whoever needed it. And people would call that like socialists, or whatever the heck people want to use, buzzwords, like it's something awful and bad. And the main people who say that are Christians. Like, no, we need capitalism. No, we don't. We really don't. And your own Bible is telling you how people thrived. In the scripture in Acts, it says no one needed for anything. No one lacked anything. Everybody had what they needed. Everybody had what they needed. And so, if this was done after the time of Jesus, why can't we go back to that? Oh, because we need lack. Because human mind, logic, and wisdom is so much more superior. But it's crazy because when we apply human logic and wisdom to stuff, it crumbles. It's ruined. It's destroyed. Look at what capitalism puts, like anytime capitalism touches anything, it's ruined, it's destroyed. Because the money is more important than the heart and the soul of the thing. So they will cut corners. They will not follow protocol. They will exploit, right? The money becomes the God. You know what I mean? Like, wisdom is in nature. Honestly, if you lack wisdom, go seek God and then go outside. Go seek God, go pray, go read, and go outside. They tell you like, oh, this should be just like recreation. This is something that, like being outside. Being outside is something that we should just hold off for vacation or for the weekend. I believe that the reason why we're so disjointed, the reason why we're so stressed, well, one of the reasons why anyway, is because of our disconnect from nature, our disconnect from wisdom. If wisdom was used to create the foundations of the world, wouldn't it be smart to go seek wisdom in the foundations of the world? Nature? Stuff that was here before man? In the book, Braiding Sweetgrass, Robin was talking about, how their creation story is about Turtle Island. And I've heard the story before, learned about it in school. But Turtle Island is what America basically is, right? And so, like, North America basically is. And when the woman got here, the sky woman got here, there were only animals here. And so the arrogance of humanity, to think that we have all the answers, to think that we know it all, is crazy. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. There's a quote and I never say this person's name right, so forgive me, but Lao Tzu, so Lao space TZU, I believe. And the quote says, and I've seen it on my tea, and the tea quote says, nature does not hurry, yet everything is achieved, or something like that. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is achieved, right? And so when you sit there and you look at these trees that I'm looking at right now, these trees took years, if not hundreds of years, to grow. It did not hurry. And yet it still takes its place. And it, and it provides beauty and majesty and moments for awe and wonder and thought, even for myself. It didn't hurry. And if it hurried, it would hurt itself, right? But that's anti-human, right? That thought is I'll say secular, right? Rush, hurry, hustle, grind, go, go, go. When the tree has more wisdom than us, the tree knows the way. The tree knows the way. And that's why I've been really getting into reading about nature, reading about indigenous wisdom. Because God created these things, and everything that God creates, there's lessons in there. Everything God makes, like, yes, it's beautiful to behold, but I really believe there are lessons in everything. And so these trees are here, yes, for me to admire and for me to eat from and enjoy and breathe oxygen, but also to learn. These trees stand tall. These trees provide shade. These trees share resources. They take care of their saplings, because even learning about that, people will say stuff like, "Oh, well, you can never grow in someone's shadow," when literally the saplings, baby trees, grow in the bigger trees' shade, because if it gets too much sunlight, the small tree will hurt itself. It will be overexposed. It will have a growth spurt when its base is not even wide enough to grow yet. Wisdom. And even in that teaches us, build the foundations first. Before you want to grow and sprout, like, we're all focused on, growth and numbers and followers and subscribers and stuff. But do you have the foundations for yourself secure so that when you do grow, you are stable? Do you? Most of us don't. Most of us are focused on how it looks to the outside only. And that's to our detriment. So humans do not have the authority on wisdom. They don't. We're selfish brats. We're selfish. We're scared. We're fearful. And I'm saying this just generally, right? Unless you come to the understanding of the truth. We're selfish, capitalistic, oppressive, insecure, fallible human beings who are susceptible to any kind of illness. Like, be real. Like, we are so fragile. And yet we think that we are God. We want to be God so bad. That's not our job. If humans could just be quiet, shut up, and listen, humble themselves, and understand that they do not have the authority on everything, we could learn so much. We could go so far. And everybody can eat. Everybody can be taken care of. Yeah. So it's just something to think about. The world was founded with wisdom, which means there's wisdom in the foundations. And so if you want wisdom, go to God, read, pray, go outside, go read a book, go learn about nature. I promise you, your mind will be blown. Go back to being a kid again, full of awe and wonder and adventure. Go back, change your perspective from someone who is high and looks down to someone who is low and sees and comprehends and understands. Like, change your perspective and change your mind. The world is abundant. It's infinite. It is not what humans say it is. Scarce. Scary. Humans are scary. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Humans are the ones that are scary. And yes, I understand there are dangers lurking out. Like, mountain lions, bears, illnesses, disease, all that stuff, right? But the number one predator in the world is humans. Humans are the number one predators in the world. They even are predators to the apex predator. And yet we think that they're the authority on anything, on life, when all they do is take life. And I'm speaking Western humans specifically, because that's my understanding of people. Yeah, like, humans are the predators. And we think we're the authority on everything. No, we are not. No, we are not. Because even lions stop feasting when they're full. Humans don't know full. Humans don't know enough. Even bears know when to hibernate and rest. Humans don't know how to rest. Humans don't know how to clock out, how to finish, how to just sleep and enjoy and rest. Like, even though I love being a human, I love having opposable thumbs, I love having forethought and imagination and, learning and all this different stuff, right? Like, I love that. But one of the curses of being human also that we have to unlearn is this anxiety, this fear we have, this inability to be present. We're always thinking about the next thing, always thinking about how we can overcome, how we can get more, and when we have enough, we're not even present with what we have. We're worried about the next thing. We're worried about who's going to take what from us. And can we relax? Can we really rest? Knowing that we're going to be okay? For a lot of us, that's really hard. That's really difficult. And yet the animals do it very well. The animals are very good at being present. Very good at playing. Very good at community. Very good at connecting. They know a truth, a sacred truth that we have lost touch with. But for them, it's embedded in them. For us, we have to do the work to go back to it. We got to relearn the stuff. So who's superior? We're out here meditating, which is great. We're out here, and don't get me wrong, I love that we're doing this, right? But we have to learn how to do that when animals, plants, creatures all know how to do that. They all know. They know when enough is enough. They don't hoard. They share. They leave, even if they eat flesh animals, right? They leave the flesh, they leave the carcass there, or they bring it with them for later. Like, they don't hoard. They know it's enough. Only when humans are, an invasive species, obviously, are introduced to a society, that stuff starts breaking down. And even in that invasive species, humans are the most invasive species there is. Mowing down stuff, even being in this park during the fall, they would keep blowing leaves away from the trees. And I'm like, even in that, there is wisdom, because the leaves go back to the earth and create fertilizer for the tree to grow. And yet in our wisdom and understanding, it doesn't look nice. It's inconvenient. Let me blow it away. Let me rake it up. When no, the trees need that. And obviously, yes, move the leaves so it's not a hazard, right? But beyond that, we're so worried about the aesthetic and the look of something and not the heart of something, not the purpose of something. Our wisdom is not superior. It's actually very foolish, very prideful, very stupid, very shallow. Even our idea of what is good and bad, our idea of what's necessary and what's not. We all know that. There's stuff that's inconvenient, that don't feel good, but we don't have all authority to be like, this is the most awfulest thing that's ever happened. You know what I mean? Like, no. In our own little mere, 150 years of living, our own little baby wisdom compared to the thousands and thousands and thousands of years that nature has been around. I look at some of these trees and I'm like, yo, what have you seen? Right? I look at the hawk in the trees and I wonder, what have you seen? What do you know? Because your perspective is so different than mine. There's so much I can learn from you. You know what I mean? So anywho, these are just my walking thoughts. Go to God and then go to nature. And I promise you, wisdom is there. Okay, happy walking. Take like one step at a time. And I will talk to y'all next time.